think it's important to open space, that if there's anyone here who wants to speak about their experiences, who want to speak about this moment, and particularly thinking of those moments of like where someone like myself needs to step back and also make sure we're continuing to hold space for those who are most affected, for Black people in our community. And this is not to pressure anyone to speak, but I want to just open space for that moment. And then maybe we can conclude, as everyone's done speaking, by holding 1 minute. We'll start with 1 minute of silence to think about all the names of everyone we just heard, who just in the last decade only have been murdered by the police, let alone people who have been murdered by racist acts, racist violence, not by the police, and all the years prior to that, prior to the last decade. So we'll do 1 minute of silence at the very end, but just want to hold space for anyone who would like to speak or say something or share any words at this moment.
Isn't great. I'm going by the studies, history in school. In the 1870s, we had enforcement acts. One of those acts in particular was the Ku Klux Klan Act. These acts were brought about to enforce the 14th Amendment that's supposed to provide protections for all persons, especially African Americans, Black people. It was overturned, I believe, in 1877 or something like that. And since then, it's gotten harder. So what's happening now in 2020 started back then. Or even further, but we won't go into those details. We need to bring back the enforcement acts, and that way we take away this mindset that they have this authority to attack because the government is on their side, the law is on their side, and without knowing the truth that the laws were enacted in such a way, it's like we stand blind. We protest, but we need to do more. We need to do more, and I'm glad all of you are out here. We have to hold every politician. It's not about party affiliation. It's not about color or class. This is about everyone. The entire planet is protesting this because enough is enough. Step up to each politician. Let them know we don't want them to stand for our rights. Bring back the enforcement act. Don't just take photo ops with people. Do real change. I want to see those acts reenacted.
I just want to make a few points that you're not supposed to think about from a class perspective. The whole culture that infects cops and Karens and everybody else is rooted in the private ownership system that was founded on the stolen labor of enslaved people. And we have the power to stop it, not by moral persuasion or body cameras or any technical fixes, but by exercising the power which all of you have. I don't think even the students are going to end up being major capitalists, owners of other people's labor. We're working people. That's where the power lies. The power to build society is the power to withhold our labor and their profits. If enough is enough, go on strike!
Everybody for coming out today. I look around at the diversity and it just touches my heart as a Black woman to see all the support that we have for demolishing racism. So thank you so much for coming out. Let's just keep this peaceful protesting, and also let's vote. Let's vote.
I don't normally get up and say much, but I do think it's important. I'm here with my daughter. She's 8 years old, and this is very beautiful. I appreciate seeing so many different faces here, but I would love for everyone to remember this moment. Eventually, the voices won't be as loud. Eventually, we won't see the headlines that we're seeing today. So I want everyone to remember the momentum that we're feeling right now. Yes. Remember it. 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 7 years. And speak up. Even if you're in a lane by yourself, even if you're in that island, on that island by yourself, use your voice, use your power, and speak up and say something. One of the main reasons we're here today is because this was recorded. There are so many lies and so many lies. So many lies that were not recorded. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep your voices strong. Stay strong. Do not be silent. It's important. We all need to speak up. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jimmy. And she said, speak up. This is personal to me because I was a victim of police brutality. And, 2002, there was not a lot of cameras out there. And what they did was, the police, I was going to get on the train on 59th Street. It's crowded. I got pushed out of the train. I went back on. Police came to me out of all people and said, come here. I said, what for what? He said, you're on the train and you're holding the doors. So I wasn't holding the door. Lady said, leave him alone. He didn't do anything. He said, it's about to get worse. She said, leave him alone. And then he maced me in my face, threw me to the ground. I couldn't breathe. And I was trying to get my air, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die right here. So then what happened was, after that happened, they took me, they put me in the police van. It was cold, they had the doors open. I was freezing. And I was like, man, this is crazy. They got me doing this, and my family is law enforcement. So I'm freezing, I don't know what's going on next. I can't see, my eyes is closed, whatever. So then I finally go from there, they take me into the precinct, whatever. And then I go home, and then later on that night, something happened to my face. I was sleeping, and my face froze up on me. And then it hit my nerves, and I got Bell's palsy. Those that don't know what Bell's palsy is, Bell's palsy is the temporary paralysis of the nerve. So it looked like I had a stroke. So I used to have that beautiful smile. And for most of my life, I walk around with my face kind of crooked and not the same. So when I see something like this happen, I gotta step out. But it's not all police officers. It's the crooked ones. It's the racist ones. It's the bad ones. It's the hateful ones. You know? And then they do it to us like we don't have any type of say. Because they feel that we don't have anybody to back us up. But now that if all of us are together and we can stand united, then we can make a difference, because this got to stop and it can't go on. So I thank God for each one of you out here. I just want to share my story.
I am here as a black woman to thank everyone. I am here as a black woman to thank everyone for coming. It is not fair how we get treated a certain kind of way just because of our skin color. It's not fair how us black people have to be pulled over the street and get arrested. It's not fair how we get to be treated racist. It's not right and it's not fair, and it has to stop now. Because if it doesn't stop now, then when will it ever stop?
That's right.
We gotta do what's best for us. We gotta do what's best for us. We can't let anyone stop when we have to say something right. We can't just sit down every day and stay silent, because that's not the way to go. We gotta stick up for what's right. All lives matter. Black 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 lives matter.
to you as a black man. I'm talking to you as your neighbor. This is my neighborhood. I live here. My daughter goes to school here. Probably see me in the park here. I'm lucky enough to live in a good neighborhood and to have great jobs. But I'm going to tell you one thing. This won't matter at all if we don't change the law. So we can sit here and say Black Lives Matter, and we can keep screaming all we want. As a person who used to work on Wall Street, I'm going to tell you none of that will matter unless we change the law, unless the money is affected. There's a lot of smart people in this group. Breaking windows is not going to do it because they'll fix it. Use your brain. Help come with proper legislation. Hold the police officers accountable. And I'm in a hard situation, right? Because I have 4 family members that are police officers. There are good ones out there trying to make change. That cries about this. When they go home and they take off that uniform and they feel shame sometimes about it. But as your neighbor, I'm going to tell you, screaming Black Lives Matter don't matter to me when I'm driving in my nice car coming here to my own neighborhood. It's the wrong one catches me. We need to change the law. There needs to be a point system. If you get 12 points in your driver's license, what happens to you? Suspended, right? They take it away. But I can have 17 infractions as a police officer and still collect a paycheck and nothing happens to you. And you will never find out about it. They can walk in your house and say, I need this information. Look, like I said, I'm in a hard situation. This doesn't affect me every day. I'm one of the few lucky ones. And I know it. But we've got to stop screaming and start doing. Don't just vote to vote. Vote for the people who have your best interests at heart. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I care if you're thinking about what matters to our community. Because guess what? My next door neighbor, when I see him, I don't see anything but just a person. And he loves me and invites me to his house and the same thing. When something happens to my Jewish neighbor, it hurts me because he's a human being. Right. And he was next to me. When women get harassed and they don't get raises, I march. And I felt actually guilty as a black man because you know why? I marched more for women's rights when it was happening than I had a chance to march now. This was convenient for me. I live right around the block. But we have to make sacrifices. So this week coming up, I'll make sacrifices to do something about it. Let's come up with a way to write our ideas on how to change the system. Let's change and write, hey, maybe we should have a point system where if they get this amount of points, they get suspended. Why are we paying for their mistake? Because you and I are taxpayers and we own businesses. And when they kill somebody, let their retirement pay for it. When they start losing money, they will stop killing you.
Has been the most destructive, unconstitutional, and racist law that I think I've ever seen. Every single cop's life is put at risk every single day with that war on drugs. and it's disproportionately impacting black and brown communities, and it needs to be repealed. The Controlled Substances Act needs to be repealed and replaced. It is completely terrible and destructive, and that is day one, along with qualified immunity, which gives the police officers basically a blank check to crack down on protests. They also choose to disobey orders when they want to. When they did not like what Bill de Blasio said about them, they stopped acting. When are they going to stop acting to break up protests? So repeal the Controlled Substances Act, follow the Supreme Court on qualified immunity, which is being heard now, and ask them to use their discretion to no longer engage in these jackbooted stormtrooper tactics for protests like tear gas, flash grenades. None of this is necessary. They have discretion. They should use it in a positive way. Thank you.
I just wanted to say we have a big role to teach the next generation about Black Lives Matter. When this country sent my grandparents to internment camps, no one spoke up for them. The rights were taken away, and they have instilled that in me. They taught me from a very young age that we need to speak out, even if I'm not a black person, but we see their rights are being infringed upon, and we need to speak up and teach young people to speak up.
And I'm sure you do. Every time one of those people whose names we read, at least those who made the news, there were demonstrations afterwards. There were marches afterwards. People said Black Lives Matter afterwards. People were moved, but nothing changed. If this moment is to mean anything, we, each of us, have to make a commitment, a personal commitment to carry on. To carry on. I've been around a long time, as you can obviously see. I remember Emmett Till. Wow. I remember James Chaney and Mickey Schwerner and Andy Goodman. I knew Andy Goodman, a classmate of mine at Queens College. I saw him not long before he went south. Racism has not made any gains.
Is deplorable. So I can't say how grateful I am for this turnout.
Somebody earlier talked about the importance of teaching the next generation. Right now, there is a social media challenge going on called the George Floyd Challenge, where one white kid lies on the ground and the other white kid puts his knee on his neck. This is documented on Twitter largely, but it's also happening on Facebook and Instagram. Now, I want to throttle these kids, but I want to know where the hell their parents are. I get kids have their own private social lives on social media. That does not prevent you or take away your responsibility as a parent. Why do these kids think that that's funny? That's horrible. So again, I ask parents, grandparents, godparents, anybody who can influence a child's mind in those teenage years where it's growing and learning the good and the bad. It's never okay to use the N-word in a joke. It's never okay to call somebody a fag. It's never okay to call somebody a type. It's never okay. You have to have zero tolerance with your own family if you want society to behave a certain way. It has got to start in your home. So please.
I want to speak to everybody here. I want to speak to people my generation, millennials, Gen Y. I need to tell you guys that posting on social media is great. We love to have that kind of attention for these matters. But that is not where it ends. Liking something, reposting it, putting it up for other people to see, that is not engagement. That is increasing awareness. And a lot of you, I'm not going to blame anyone here particularly, you guys love to post. You like to repost and like and share. But that is not enough to make change viable. That doesn't make things happen. If anything, that movement is called slacktivism. Okay, guys? I want to encourage you because we are the ones who are inheriting the earth from the generations before us. Okay, I'm not going to get into global warming tirade here either, but...
Do it, brother.
But you need to make change. Pay attention to who you're voting into office. Pay attention to who is going to take the seats of the politicians who are leaving, who are old, who are moving out of those offices. Make sure the people that you elect care about this matter.
Impeach Trump.
Okay, yes, okay. Maybe moving Trump out of office might change, but he is not.
Here's a few actions. What was your name?
Joe.
Joe. So Joe gave us a really good call to action about needing to make sure that we look to the dollars that are being spent, the people that we are electing. But here's a few things. Our council member, if you live in Riverdale and Spike Guys, our council member is not a co-sponsor of the legislation that would ban the chokehold that killed Eric Garner. So here's what you do today. You can call Councilmember Cohen and demand that he become a co-sponsor on that bill. Another item to keep aware of, we're talking about people who are up for election. We have a congressional race happening in this district, and we have a primary happening on June 23rd. First of all, if you don't have your absentee ballot, you can get an absentee ballot. Go online, search New York City absentee ballot. It takes literally 30 seconds, and you can get an absentee ballot, so you don't have to go to the polls and risk your life. That's number one. But number two, there is a congressional primary happening, and we have a congressman who's been in office for 30 years, and we have an incredible challenger to him named Jamal Brown. Take a moment to do some research about what are the policies that these two people support. What are they going to do for you as a resident of this community, but also what are they? You're standing here for Black Lives Matter protest. What are they going to do if you believe in supporting Black lives and supporting and changing policies? What are they going to do to create systemic change that's going to support Black lives? So look at that congressional primary that's happening in 2.5 weeks. That's number two. Number three, if you have the resources today, donate. There are organizations like the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. There are organizations, sorry, hard with the mask. There are organizations in New York City that are supporting cash bail for individuals who are being arrested unjustly with these protests. There are, and I'll give you my number 4, but I will send out a list of organizations for places to donate for folks who are interested at the very end. So number 3 is to donate, and number 4, this literally came together this morning based off these rumors of a protest that wasn't a protest that scared all of our management, mine included, into telling us that there was going to be this thing that was scary, and it was all fake.
Racial justice. We already have a movement in this area. I'd love to work with you, Sasha. North Bronx Racial Justice at gmail.com. I would love to help mobilize everybody who's here. We've been around for 3 years, education advocacy, and I would like people to go to the pages of the Riverdale Press and put in the search Alfred Burns. The 50th Precinct has a history of racist police brutality. It's very important to inform yourselves about that.
Can I add something?
Thank you.
The law that protects police disciplinary records is a New York State law, not New York City. It's Section 50A, 50A. There is a big push right now, at least sympathy, in the New York State legislature to re-examine that law that the police unions have always been able to defeat any change. Everybody should call or go on the website and give a comment to our New York State Senator in Riverdale, which is Alessandra Biaggi, and our Assembly member, Jeffrey Dinowitz, and if you're in a different district, figure out who it is, and email Cuomo and demand a change to a repeal of Section 50A that protects police disciplinary records. This is the time to get out and push.
Have 1 minute of silence, beginning now. Thank you. minutes of silence together with one final Black Lives Matter, all together in unison, or you can repeat after me to get the face. Black Lives Matter!